Um, Amyris, I'm very happy to introduce you to everyone here, and we are very happy that you are here. Um, one day, um, you're from Sao Paulo, in Brazil, and one day you found yourself on the internet. It states, and you went digital when everyone thought that it was crazy to leave your job. um, because of something new. Well, it's not that new now. And she had a deep interest. You have a deep interest in multiple disciplines. So fast forward, Emirates is now a very passionate business strategist. She loves digital media and she's an e-learning professional. Also a teacher, a consultant in UX, and an expert in team building and mentoring. So, yeah, vast body of experience. Um, and we are and the talk you are giving, yeah, is very. I think it's a very important talk because if we talk about inclusiveness, we don't often think of people getting older, aging as it's called. So the social taboo we are currently trying to understand, yeah, it's something, I think, a perspective which is overlooked often, not only by young designers, but by lots of designers. So I'm happy to give you the stage, and I'm asking everyone again here, please mute yourself so Emiris can present.
Okay,
And
thank
if you
you.
have any questions, of course you can put them in the chat. At the end of the talk, we have some time for questions. And this presentation is being recorded, so please, if you don't want to be recorded, please mute your audio and video. Okay,
Okay, thank
stage
you.
is yours.
Thank you. Well, the thing is, I'm a professional that is I'm 62 years old, and I'm the sort of person that really enjoys learning and teaching and practicing. That's why I'm here. I will share my screen right now, and um, let me show you the presentation. So let's get started. Uh, Nowadays, I work as a professor and as consultant, both. Um, and just to remind ourselves that life is a long journey, let me put here how we change over time. This is me arriving in Brazil at the age of 5 to 6, and me a couple of years ago. As you can see, we age a lot over time. Uh, the thing is, and why we have to talk about aging, it's because the life expectancy is increasing over time, and those are the numbers. The numbers you see here are the numbers from the 2019, and as you can see, most people will reach 75, 76, 80 years old in average, which means it's a lot of time. And most people think that when you grow old, that you will be, I don't know, kind of useless. But we change it everything over time. We are getting older, but healthier and active, more active over time. It's a different sort of aging that's happening now.
I'm
We
sorry
have
to introduce one moment, Emiris. Could everyone please mute themselves in the audio? Thank you very much. Yeah.
and we we all will experience several career changes, because if life is longer, we will have this sort of experience, changing careers, and all those things together makes that we makes us think in another way how or what old means. The other thing is that most people that are getting older are facing the challenge of changing what they are doing because there are a lot of work that we did before with humans and now that are substituted by artificial intelligence and robotization. And sometimes this is a threat, but it's also an opportunity for the ones that are um prepared to learn, are open to learn new things. It will be an opportunity for the ones that are really closed to learn something different. It will be a real threat, to be honest. And one of the things that we have to change is that, and it includes designers and those things, is that we will do a lot of the decision making uh, through data, through the analytical part, also, not only the human part, but the analytical part. Therefore, most of the time when I'm teaching, I'm saying, okay, you think that, I don't know, neuroscience is fun because you have a lot of cool graphics that come out from from the data we look for. But the thing is, most of the times we have to deal with big tables and not that fun sort of thing to work, because it's not fun to look at numbers in the beginning. And we can see here that the wealthier the country is, the older the people get. And for some regions, getting older is not a big problem. But for us as a society, getting older means that we are becoming quote unquote useless, which is not true. Let's look at what happens with the brain over time, and let's see how it's different from most of us be, think about the brain. First thing is that the better you live, the healthier you live throughout life, the better things become when you grow old. So if you drink a lot, smoke, use drugs, etc., etc., it will be a threat for your health over time. And of course, if you do a lot of exercises, if you have a very nice, I would not say intense, but nice and interesting, because sometimes being with people is interesting and challenging. If you have a lot of people around you, it will be better for you, and it will decrease your cognitive impairment in adult life. Let's say, well, let's put it this way. So the domains we will most of the neuroscience the neuroscientists look for are the different types of memory, the way you reason things, and the speed you respond to the environment with the spatial visualization. So let's look at what happens and what uh, changes over time. One of the things that the Cattell looked at in 1942 was the traditional intelligence. They were looking for test scores, and they noticed that at some point, what you learned, or what you how you respond to the to those tests are literally the same. It's not that you improve when you're scoring the test. This is the dotted line in the middle. But if you think about the empirical intelligence, something that is related with your ability to experiment things and incorporate in your life, it sort of decreases. But it decreases when you start to actually when you will start to get into your 20s. So it's not that something that happens only when you turn 50 or when you turn 60. It starts when you turn 20. So your 20s is where you when you're crystallized as a person. And the empirical thing is related directly with the modes, let's say your mental models. You learn how the world is, quote unquote, or how it should be according to your mental models until you are reaching your 20s. One interesting thing is that this little dotted line says that the crystallized intelligence, which is the theoretical, uh, only improves over time. It stays stable, let's say, in your 60s, which means that the way you reason things, the way you see things, um, in not only the theoretical part, but the way you conceptualize things are crystallized, and but it will change over time. In other words, if you want to change the concept in your brain about people, how people behave, how things work, you can change your point of view. But the guiding principles of your life, which is your fluid intelligence, your empirical one, it's crystallized in your 20s. Your guidelines, your big guidelines in life are crystallizing in your 20s. Um, when you look at this uh, slide, you see only things going down, especially 20 to 90 going down, memory, speed, reasoning, but vocabulary not. The interesting thing is that it explains why teachers are become better teachers over time. It's not that your memory decreases in quality or anything. It's because your memory is so full. It's you have so many things to remember that you can't retrieve and speak about what you remember all the time because you have a lot in your brain. uh, you only speak about it. You're not verbalizing memory, you're verbalizing a reasoning over everything you experience over time. The same about reasoning. Sometimes you don't reason explicitly, you only um, let's say, I'm reasoning because of this, that, or that. You only know, that's it. And of course, over time, your energy will make you slower. And sometimes this is better because you work in a very deep and condensed way to respond to the environment. That's what happened with you over time. Um, Talking about Alzheimer, this is in Portuguese, sorry about that. You have here the areas that are affected. First, the first one is the memory and the spatial orientation. Of course, you see that during the time the person is showing the first signals of the disease. And you have an increase or an inflammation of a protein, a certain kind of protein, which is an amyloid sort of thing. And it makes a deposit in parts of your brain related with memory, sleeping, the sensorial perception, vision, perception of the environment and the context, and the decision making. Those parts that are pointed here are the parts that are um, affected over time. And we have to agree that sometimes we are so tired that those parts show some signals for us. The thing is, we don't lose the ability to learn. We simply mm, have a relationship with learning over time, which is contextual. People can learn, still can learn things when they are growing old. We still have the same mechanism in the brain to learn, which is I will ask the astrocyte to bring more energy to the brain cells and make them healthy in order to fire the electric signal, which is pretty much what our brain does all the time. And this is it. Uh, but we have a lot of problems in the middle, coming in the middle. First, I would say the culture that's not here. The culture says, you're growing old. Why are you going to the university? Why are you um, still doing that? Why are you still working? When in fact, when you grow old and you start to when you're growing old, things will happen in a different way. And your body, if it's not healthier, will not be prepared to bring all the energy to the brain properly. So, most of the time, you age because you are not using your body properly, too. Interesting experiments here uh, with people 60 plus. The more time people are engaged in learning, the more they improve their episodic memory and processing speed of what they learn. And this is a recent experiment. The more you become active, and here it was becoming mentors to elementary school, the more you improve your memory and your executive functions, meaning responding very fast to the environment. And when you go to college, your processing speed, your inductive and divergent reasoning are prolonged, sustained, and you can be more engaged in learning, and this become a virtual cycle for you. And in another experiment, they made people learn theater, where a lot of body it's involved, and the memory and the problem-solving skills improved over time for those that participated in this study. So, girls and boys, get busy. That's it. That's the main point. If you get busy, your memory, working memory, episodic memory, your processing speed, your reasoning will be use it, and you will use and be more active in using your crystallized knowledge, everything that you already know. So the busier you are, the better, or the younger, quote unquote, your brain will become. What can help you over time? Nutrition, environment, physical activity, especially when you are 60 somethings like me, maintaining physical activity, social engagement, and managing properly chronic diseases that happen, they happen, may prevent you to getting or have some sort of slope in your cognitive abilities. Okay, well, let's talk about design. Yeah, I think that the main thing here is how us as designers can help people. Uh, every time we think about people getting old, we think about something 50 something and looking like this. And no, this is not what happens. We are here. We are here where a woman with 50 somethings, like the actress on the left, looks like pretty pretty well, let's say, and the other person with 70 something looks pretty well too, and both are still working and functional and are smart and making things okay. So the thing is, most of the time these people are working like this. Um, as you can see, this person, the grandpa, uh, have the same speed, is at the same rhythm, don't do the same, don't do a big effort to lift the leg, but he is doing pretty much everything that is needed. So he recorded in his brain the movements, and he can play with the kids. And this is what we should aim as people here. When it comes to technology, however, people say, oh, it gets complicated. And it actually gets complicated when you're talking about seniors that don't have previous knowledge of or any experience with technology because they don't have the mold or the main idea how it works. They have to learn that from scratch. Uh, when we Therefore, when we are doing our design, we should think about ways to improve interaction, thinking about the impaired senses, um, providing help all the time, making things really smooth and resemble the reality as much as you can. And of course, there is one thing that people forget when we talk about people getting old, which is um, when you are learning something, you are learning a new pattern, you're learning a new language. And technology is quote unquote a language. And most of the time, when we want to learn a language properly, we have to interact with other humans. And older people are left behind, are usually alone at home, interact very seldom, with, once in a while with another people. And if it's younger people, they don't have patience because they are in another speed. Therefore, if you want to make something engaging, make people engage in not only through better visual elements, but uh, bigger and more nice and interactions, but think about social interaction with people of the same age or around the same age, because those guys need social interaction. We are social animals and we need people around us. Therefore, if you're thinking about creating something for people that are growing old, please think about social interaction because this is more necessary or as much necessary as a bigger button. Uh, we learn through others. Others make us move our emotional surroundings. Our emotional brain is the one that actually make us have any memory. That's why you have to improve relationships and provide learning through other humans, not only through the electronic help. And this is what I wanted to share with you. And I want to know what you think about it and the questions you have.
Thank you, Amirs. Thank you very much. Very interesting. And well, getting older and becoming useless starting at 20 was a bit confronting for me. Okay. Um, there's one question in the chat that states, "How can we prepare our career for when we are older?"
Career. Uh, well, I think that the first thing you have to think is what are the topics that nowadays you can deep dive because they are not, you think that they are useless because you're paying the bills and you have to deliver a prototype and etc. But you have topics that you're interested in and you can learn in a while. let's say you are now a UX consultant, you are doing a lot of work and you have kids, etc., and you don't have time to study. Uh, well, you don't have time to go to the university, but maybe you have time for a book or videos, etc., or learning by yourself through videos. That's your topic of interest. At some point, you will have time. Your kids will go like mine. I have a 33-year-old daughter. She's not with me since she's 18. So when she turned 18, I went back to the academia. I did my master's, my PhD, my postdoctoral studies, and etc. And I stayed active, and it helped me to get a reputation, to prepare the road for this time right now, which is I am 62 and busier than ever.
Yeah, yeah. I yeah, what you're telling us also is that you yeah, get active in all kinds of ways, but at the same time, yeah, like the grandpa was dancing with the kids. At the same time, you can't be active or at everything, being proactive in learning, proactive in keeping relationships, proactively getting your workouts. Um, so there is a balance, I think, but it looks like um, if I look at my surroundings, it looks like there's a big what's it called, a
Divide.
divide, yeah, a divide, that people are really or they are really going downwards, with their mental health and everything, or people are staying, yeah, they're staying on track, and of course things aren't going that efficient or effective anymore, like when they're very, very young, but they are very happy, like you. So this big divide, how do you, yeah, is it explainable, or is there something to do? Yeah.
I think there is something that we have to acknowledge, which is the cultural environment where you're in, and how you what your mental model is. If you believe that getting old and you start repeating, I'm getting old, I can't do this, I can't do that, you will not be able to do, because you were putting a block in front of your um, needs and wants. But if you accept the fact that it will be different, but it's not impossible, it will be in another way, yeah, that's okay. I exercise every day with 30 somethings, and my teacher tells me, go faster. I tell her, no, but I will go forever, and they will not.
Okay, yeah, that's a great advice. There's one question here also: how do you suggest younger designers can interact with older users when developing products? Are there any best practices?
I think that there is a lot of things that we have to do, which is, first of all, instead of being complacent, one of the things that happen, at least in Portuguese, and in Spanish, I see that too. People start to speak like they are talking with babies, and like the other person is not able to understand you properly. Uh, Older people understand things perfectly, uh, but they are a little bit slower, like they are learning something in a different language. Uh, and think about it, this person as a person that's learning another language. You have to do a lot of examples. You will have to show how it works. Let's say, oh, I will crush something. So you're showing what crush means, and you're doing the exercise with the other person. You are showing some respect, because speaking like you're talking with a baby doesn't work well. The other thing is let, understand that you have to feel empathy, but it's cognitive empathy. Let's understand what the other people, how the other person thinks, reason. That's the main point. And the other thing, if you don't know how this person lives, understand the context of this person. A person alone will learn slower than a person that is living with someone else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's actually also being empathetic, but it's actually also if you don't know who's in front of you, and especially with older people, also asking open questions about what's their situation to to take that into account.
Yes.
Uh, okay, yeah, okay. Thank you, and also thank you from the one from Cecilia who asked the question. Are there any more questions? Then you can ask it to Amyris straight by unmuting your audio and video.
Anushka,
Yeah,
it's Denise. Yeah, I have a question.
yeah, of course.
It's I don't know. It's more of a reflection. I don't expect an answer from Amir. It's just thinking about the matter of trust, because I see that many people, even if they are still active at an old age, they are a little bit uncomfortable to trust, let's say, bank apps or devices. How would you? What do you think about that overall? I'm just food for thought.
Yeah. Denise, which I know well. The thing is how you perceive yourself in the world. I think that most people believe that in this society, people that are getting older or are considered old are out of the process. And what you believe in in your brain is what happens outside your brain. If you don't trust that you belong, that you have something, that you are worth, um, the others will perceive the same way you do. Of course, when we are talking about big companies hiring people at some age, the human resources person usually it's very full of prejudice about
Hmm.
older people. But if you think about yourself as a person that can contribute to
Sorry.
teach to other people, teach other people, work by him or herself, it's okay. You can go on and on as much as you want.
Yeah, I entirely agree with you. I was just thinking, is there anything that we as designer could do to improve? And you just said, you know, raising awareness among our peers is one thing. Yeah.
There is one thing that I notice is that people don't believe in. The other day I was talking with some professors, and they were saying, "Oh, when we are teaching Harvard cases, they don't like the old cases. Let's say the 80s, the 90s case studies, and they have a lot to teach." And I am a
Mhm.
person that is very curious about history and strategy,
Of course.
and I learned a lot from the Greeks,
Mhm.
from the Romans, and from Second World War. So
Yeah,
I can't see why we have to say that because someone is old or something is old, we don't have something to learn. Go back to the main books. Go back to
the classics. Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emirs. Um, Okay, if there aren't any other questions, I think I think we will close this talk. And well, I first want to thank you very much for all your sharing all this knowledge and being here. It yeah, I've learned a lot. You see in the chat also, people learned a lot. And I hope you're staying with us for the panels afterwards. But for now, we've got a small 15 minutes before the first. Let me see. Yeah, the diversity panel starts at 6:30. So break. And you can of course look into the student rooms, the Fresh Talent Talks. They are now talking. Or you can go to the sponsor rooms and have a chat there, or just be on the rooftop bar. I see Lena there, where you can also casually chat with each other. And otherwise, we'd love to see you back, all the attendees, in 15 minutes for the main stage where the diversity panel discussion will take place. It's going to be a lovely discussion. For now, again, Amyris, thank you very much,
Thank you.
and every attendee for being here. Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I will be at the bar, of course.
Okay, that's
Bye.
good. Bye bye. For the ones who are here and don't know how it works, you can just, or it's just in to join, you can just click on the name of a room you want to enter, just one click, and then you'll directly enter that room.